Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Shamal Pope, aka Jay Phoenix. This is going to be your astrology forecast for January 5th through the 7th of 2024. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. Hopefully, you guys are having a wonderful day. Let's go ahead and hop into these astrological transits for this Friday, plus the weekend, so we can see how you can be better prepared to navigate these celestial energies. Already the first week of 2024 is coming to a close. It really does feel like time's moving like super fast. It just feels like it's just going by fast now. It seems like things have been speeding up since 2012, and then 2020 things even took like even faster. It's like we're doing everything at 1.5 the speed like right now. It's like, and then now we're doing that things at like 2 times the speed. It's just crazy how fast things are moving. So, but anyways, let's go ahead and hop right on into it. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the calendar. So for this weekend, of course, you can see here we don't have a lot of major aspects going on. It's going to be mostly the moon making aspects this weekend. Of course, on Friday, we do have the moon that's going to be entering into Scorpio. Saturday, there's not really a whole lot going on unless I missed something, but we will go over that, of course. And then on Sunday, you're going to see the moon enter into Sagittarius. So at the time of me making this, the moon is actually at 0 degrees of Scorpio, which means that when it moves into Sagittarius on Sunday, it'll be a little bit later in the day on that one. But of course, this weekend, even though it seems pretty chill overall, like I said, the moon will be making some aspects. And once it goes into Sagittarius, the same thing. But we are gearing up for the bulk, the meat of this month as we head into next Monday, where you can see Mercury actually finishes its square, or it comes to its apex with Neptune, but that's going to be on Monday. So we're kind of building up to that energy, if you will. Let's go ahead and hop into the actual chart itself. Right. All right. So at the current moment, you can see here that moon has shifted into its detriment in Scorpio, or excuse me, its fall position in Scorpio. And at least the South Node's not there. I mean, Pallas Athena is there. But we're going to see this moon shift into the spot. It immediately makes a nice little sextile over to Mars here, which is freshly ingressed into Capricorn as of yesterday. So we got 0, 0, 0, 0. So a nice little 0-point energy right there, pretty much opening up the opportunity, if you will, to really, this is a very Scorpionic Capricornian kind of time, because if you look at those energies, they're pretty strong. Pluto at the end of Capricorn. We have Saturn, of course, which is a pretty strong planet here in Pisces, the moon of which will make a trine to today. There's a lot of energy that's kind of pointing towards this Capricornian Scorpio vibe, which means that things are going to be a bit deep, a bit intense, a bit seemingly serious, and a bit intimate. Scorpio is a very intimate, emotional sign, a very deep sign. Capricorn, it wants to take things to new heights. It's sort of like this energy. Capricorn is sort of this energy where it will make these cuts. It will cut things out of its life in order to ascend the mountain. You know what I'm saying? So it's like in order to ascend the mountain, Capricorn has to be as light as possible in many ways, despite the fact that it's lead, if you look at it from like a medieval aspect, but it's about making those right adjustments so we can make it to the top of the mountain. So when we have a moon in Scorpio, which is already very deep, already very intense, already feeling all of the emotions very deeply, making the sextile over to Mars and Capricorn, this is a time, starting off with the day, where we can, our goals, our dreams, if you will, that Mars, now that it's in Capricorn, we have to realize that there is a commitment level to this. I like to look at Scorpio as commitment in many ways, because a lot of times people will look at Libra as like relationships, and Libra is like the wedding, right? Libra is the wedding, it's the relationships, it's that whole thing, it's the show. But Scorpio is Of course, what generally happens traditionally, right, after the wedding is the couple has sex for the first time and they consummate their marriage per se, but also it's about that deep level commitment that comes afterwards, and actually building that emotional bond with that individual. So when the moon comes here, it's like we're trying, and with a sextile over to Mars, this opens up the opportunity for us to commit on a deeper emotional level to the legacy that we're wanting to build, right? Now, of course, we're going to see as the day progresses, we're going to see that moon. Well, they're both going to actually shift. Mars will actually fully shift into Capricorn and hit that 1 degree today. But this is going to come pretty much right when that moon is going to be opposed Jupiter. So I think that's interesting that Mars clicks to 1 degree of Capricorn pretty much the moment that that moon is in opposition to Jupiter. And Jupiter, which is now direct, right? And it's being that this is 5 degrees, so this is going to be a very mercurial kind of opposition. Not to mention that Mercury itself is at 23 degrees, so we even have a harmonic of 5 energy in the chart around this time, around 6:14 p.m., if you will. So from about 6 to 7 ish, we're gonna have like this harmonic energy, maybe about 6 to 8 o'clock, if you will. You'll see this harmonic of 5 energy where things are gonna get very, very mercurial. And this moon opposing Jupiter, this is going to be, I mean, Jupiter's probably going to win this battle, if you will. Jupiter, which is wanting to expand on things, now, especially now that Jupiter's coming forward. This is about seeing the fortune that we already have. I think this moon of Scorpio, it's going to want to look for some edge, especially after sextiling Mars, because it's going to be a little bit more fired up emotionally. But this opposition to Jupiter is going to be like kind of like calm your tits a little bit, like cool your jets a little bit, because we need to be able to acknowledge the things that are working in our life, the tools that we already do have, and see how those things are beautiful already. Jupiter is wanting to show us the beautiful things that are already there, and the beauty and the simplicity of things. um yeah, I mean, and the cool thing is that right before that, of course, the moon did trine over to Saturn as well. So there's I mean, so you get two nice harmonious aspects with the sextile to Mars and then a trine to over to Saturn. So you get two nice little aspects right there, that where the universe is pretty much kind of keying us in to look, the dream is possible. It's very possible. It's not going to necessarily be easy to build. You're going to have to maybe come out of your comfort zone a little bit. You're going to have to connect with people a bit. You're going to have to, if you really want to manifest this new life, you have to be like a new person, if you will. And I think that's sort of, you know, coming off the heels of the moon opposing Eris and opposing the North Node, and opposing the midpoint of that while it was in sextile to Mercury, which was at 22 degrees at the same time, and Mercury was trining that midpoint. Yeah, it can definitely feel that maybe we are kind of in like this weird middle zone, and we are really trying to figure out, okay, like, yes, I want to manifest A, B, and C. In order to manifest A, B, and C, I have to take actions A, B, and C. Well, if I take actions A, B, and C, that's going to, in many ways, make me a different person. And you have to be willing to commit to that and not be afraid to be different. I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. Like, you can't be afraid to be different. And I think that's what this comes down to, is a lot of people are afraid to be different, because they feel like people are going to look at them and like, oh, you changed. That's kind of the point. That's kind of the point. You're not the same person you were 5 years ago. You're not the same person you were 10 years ago. You're not the same person you were 20 years ago. So what makes it hard now for you to change? What is it that's holding you back now from the change that you seek in your life? Right? So And we continue to move that forward through the rest of Friday. And as I've said, besides the moon making aspects, we're not going to see like a whole lot this weekend. Um, so that moon's going to hit 8 degrees coming into Saturday. We do have a couple of energies that are building up, mind you. We have, Mercury, of course, which has been in square to Neptune this whole time, building up to the full square. So that's going to intensify over the weekend. We have Mars, of course, which is building up to a sextile with Saturn, right? Now, we do, of course, have the sun here, and I didn't put this in the calendar, but we do have the sun here, which does start to square Chiron. So we have the sun that's been in square to Chiron for a good bit of Friday. Pretty much the end of Friday, if you will. Oh no, it actually starts on Friday. It actually starts on Friday, where you have that sun that's actually going to be in square to Chiron. And this can be interesting. This is an interesting aspect, mainly because, of course, the sun of Capricorn is very much so focused on legacy, but that Chiron in Aries is very much so focused on, if I express myself in this way, is it going to be well received? Especially being that this is 15 degrees, so it's like right in the middle, and this is a degree that is ruled by Venus because of the balance aspect of it. It's like, all right, there's going to be a bit of a challenge here. Can you embrace and accept your legacy and actually go for it and actually feel like that you can receive that? You can receive those gifts, you receive that message, you can receive that education that Chiron provides and what it means to really go for those things. Remember, Chiron and the North Node are coming closer together. That's another energy that's building up, right? And Chiron and Aries has been a doozy because you've been seeing people use it as a way, like the whole victim mentality and victim currency thing has been at an all-time high with Chiron here in freaking Aries. Like, people have been really identifying with their traumas. People have been really identifying with their hurt. People have been really identifying with the arrows that they've taken to their knee in life. They've been overly identifying with it. But the thing is it's really going to work much longer? Is it going to work? And when the North Node hits it, this is going to be a moment because Chiron is going to be opposed to the South Node, which means that we can no longer just be focused on the past and what's happened to us. We got to look ahead to the future. We have to embrace and adopt a new self if we really want to move forward. If we are looking to increase and raise our vibration, so we can therefore raise the vibration of this planet, we cannot continue to act in the way that we acted 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, right? That's not to say that like some of the things that you like, you have to just completely get rid of, right? Like, I still love Pokemon, I still love cartoons and anime, I still watch that shit. I ain't gonna stop watching that stuff. But some of the other actions in the past or the inactions I've taken in the past, those are the things that need to change. And I had to kind of get out of my own head because Aries rules the head. Aries rules the head. So that's the thing. So many people are so in their head right now, especially when it comes to the Chiron stuff, especially when it comes to their past wounding and stuff like that. They're so in their head about this. And they're being like Aries with the big horns and just ramming into people and situations. And it's like, I have this one, I have this one, I have this one. Pay attention to me, pay attention to me. And the sun squaring over Chiron is going to be asking us, like, hey, there's a different way. Like, hey, have you considered, instead of being down there eating the grass and doing that stuff, bighorn sheep, they also climb the mountain, right? It's not just goats. Bighorn sheep also climb the mountains, right? It's the reason why Mars is exalted in Capricorn, because they prefer to be up there as well. And then when they bang their heads and it echoes and bounces off the walls of the mountains and shit like that, you notice that whenever they do that, they stop for a bit. Probably because they're giving themselves a concussion. Have you ever seen Rams do this? They'll like literally go in and bam, and then they just like stop. They just look up. We all have that kind of archetype and energy. Everyone has Aries energy somewhere. Well, you have to ask yourself, are you ramming your head into situations and with people that are just going to continue to yield the same results over and over and over again, but you're expecting a different result? You have to be willing to receive here. This Sun square Chiron is about reception. Can you receive your unique superpowers? That's why I call Chiron. It's your unique superpowers. It is, the glyph is a key that opens up the doorway, that opens up the treasure chest to your unique superpowers. That's the way I see it, anyways, right? It's the wounded healer. Are you open to receiving the healing? Are you open to, some of you guys, some people are just constantly like, look at this scar I have. And the moment that the scar starts to heal, they open it back up. And then it starts to fester and shit like that. And then it's like, oh, look at this one, look at this wound. And I was like, oh. And then it starts to heal. And then they open it back up. Like, are you open to receiving this healing? Finally. It's not easy, especially with the moon in Scorpio, which is filling things even deeper, right? That's not easy, you know? Especially with a Mercury and its detriment and Sag in shadow building up to a square with Neptune. It's not easy. So actually have some grace in yourself too, because you've made it through so much. You made it to this moment. And like I said, this is about looking at our life and seeing the blessings that we have, right? Of course, we can manifest more, but this is about looking to see what we have manifested and seeing the beauty in that, and seeing that these things aren't just things, but they're tools. And we can utilize these tools to propel us to a more prosperous and more abundant and more fulfilling future and now in current moment, right? So, when we move into Saturday, Saturday morning, like let's say 8:14, we're going to see that moon is going to be at 12 degrees. So it's building up to the opposition with Uranus, which is, I would say, is like the major aspect of Saturday. Of course, that sun is going to be finishing up its square to Chiron exactly. And, we'll just continue to move it forward. We're going to see, the moon is also going to make a nice little sextile over to the sun right before the sun finishes its square to Chiron, and the moon, of course, is going to be in quincunx to Chiron during this time. So the moon kind of joins in the fray here, kind of lagging a little bit behind. Like the sun is like our vitality and our spirit, and then the moon are like our emotions and kind of those deeper desires that we want. It's going to kind of come and join the energy, and it's sextiling the sun, right? It's sextiling the sun. So the it's quincunxing Chiron, which means that, okay, in order to change, it is going to be a bit awkward. In order to accept this healing, it's going to be a bit awkward, which means that the medicine probably doesn't taste that good, right? When you finally want to heal and you finally take the medicine, it's not going to taste good. Or putting peroxide on the freaking wound, it's going to burn, it's going to sting a little bit. It's going to be like, ah. But once you get through that, you good, you Gucci, right? You can finally heal, you can finally move forward. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see that moon hit that 19 degrees. And it's interesting that it joins up with Pallas Athena and both of them make the opposition to Chiron, not Chiron, to Uranus, which is, like I said, the only planet that is retrograde at the moment. So we have them meeting up, right? And by this time, of course, the sun comes off of the 15th degree and it's heading towards the squaring of the nodes, which we'll have in a few days' time. So, but this moon is going to oppose Uranus with Pallas Athena. And once again, this is, of course, a deeper commitment that we're looking for with the moon in Scorpio, but with it opposing Uranus, which is definitely shaking things up. This can be like, we may have certain beliefs or a certain, maybe just a certain feel about certain groups of people that maybe we don't necessarily see eye to eye with. And with Pallas Athena here too, and Pallas Athena, think about it, she is a master strategist. She guarded the city of Athens, right? And with the moon here, people are going to be definitely on guard Saturday. Like, people are going to be emotionally on guard on Saturday, especially when it comes to out there people and out their beliefs or out their morals, if you will, or values that they think that they're going to think that these values are outside themselves, and they're going to be wanting to guard. They're going to be on guard, a lot more. 19 degrees, this reduces to 1. So this is about the sun. So yeah, people are going to be on guard a little bit. And they're going to maybe perceive the Uranian energy as way out there and not a part of who they are. But hey, everybody has Taurus energy. Everyone has Uranus somewhere in their chart. That's the beautiful thing about this, is that we can see something and we can think that it's way outside of who we are, when really it is a reflection of something that is within us as well. Maybe it's a part of ourselves that we don't express that much. Maybe it's suppressed a little bit. But oftentimes, the people that we meet will activate certain aspects of our chart. This is one of the beautiful things about astrology, is that, like, you'll get some of the arguments. It's like, oh, well, people born on the same day, or how do they not have the same they don't have the same destiny if they're born around the same time. Well, first of all, the moon sign could be different depending upon how far apart that they're born. The moon sign could be different. The degree could be different. But not only that, but even if they have very, 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 very similar charts, it's the people that they also come into contact with, which will activate and influence certain aspects of their chart, and therefore influence and activate certain aspects of their personal development and growth. So that's how it's different. That's how people born on the same day have different destinies. It's because no two people are going to have the same experience, including twins, including people born at the same time, because they're going to meet, maybe their parents are different signs, or their friends, or their spouse, or something like that, right? And that's the thing about this. So when we get to this moon opposing Uranus, don't be afraid here to look at the things that may seem far out there. You may look at someone, and this is, like I said, it's Uranus and Taurus, so this is like this could be like a different group of people or different culture that have a different set of values, and you may look at it and you may feel like it's way outside of you. But really, if you were to really get to know these people, you'll realize that they are still people. They still want the same things and need the same things that you. They still need food. They still need water. They still need air. Right? They still have the breath of life within them. They still need connection. They still need love. Right? They still need a sense of purpose. Just like you. So don't ostracize them. Don't other people. This moon on Pallas Athena opposing Uranus is going to be people wanting to other people. Oh, they're the others. And we don't talk to them. Be careful of that. Be careful of that, right? So now we're going to, of course, continue to move this forward, going into Sunday morning, right? Now, of course, we have Mercury, which has hit 24 degrees. Not quite in square to Neptune just yet. But it's getting there. And it does make a nice little trine over to Eris, right? And while the moon here at 25 degrees is in trine to Neptune, right? So that's how Sunday begins off. It's going to be interesting to, I don't go to church, but I'd imagine that the sermons this weekend are going to be pretty intense, especially with the Mars and Capricorn, especially with the Mercury that's in square to Neptune. I'd imagine the sermons are going to be pretty intense this Sunday, right? Now, that moon, of course, is going to finish up in Scorpio and move into Sagittarius come the afternoon, right? So now this moon is being disposited by Jupiter instead of Pluto that is in Capricorn. So, and of course, we have Mars here at 2 degrees. So, like I said, the weekend, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on. It's really going to be the moon making aspects. And I think with the moon being in Scorpio pretty much a good majority of this time, it's going to bring a bit of an intense and deeper energy. It's going to be a very feeling kind of weekend, kind of almost like we're feeling out the new year, like we're feeling out 2024. But it almost kind of feels like we're going in blind and we're having to do like some sort of challenge where it's like we have to feel 2024 and we're like, oh, 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 okay. Oh, 2024. What is you? What is you doing? That's kind of what the week. That's kind of what this weekend is going to be like. But it was funny because when we open our eyes, when the moon comes into Sag, we're going to be looking like, oh shit, that's what 2024 looks like. Am I ready? I'm ready. Like that's going to be this whole time. When that moon comes in Sag is when we're going to start to at least emotionally start to feel into things, and it's going to be like, oh shit, okay, all right. This is going to be a pretty wild year. The moon is going to square Saturn at the end of the day too. So we end the weekend with a square to Saturn at 3 degrees. The reason why I said that I feel like some of the sermons are going to be pretty intense because this is going to be a weekend about your perceptions, what you believe about other people, what you believe about other groups, what you believe about yourself, the narrative that you tell yourself, the story that you tell yourself. What do you believe about all these things? Are there any truths in any of these things? Do any of these things need to be recalibrated, revamped, remixed? And when we come to this square, this moon, like I said, and it's starting to come into a quincunx with Jupiter at the same time, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, yo, we have to really look at these beliefs. We have to really look at the things that we surround ourselves with too, as well. With the Saturn here in Pisces, the things that we program ourselves with, we have to look at those things as well and ask ourselves, like, okay, what can I change? Like, do I need to change some of these algorithms? Do I need to start, instead of seeing all these depressing news, I need to start watching like a lot more cat videos, stuff like that, so my algorithm can start showing me cat videos more? Like, how can we curate the algorithm of our lives, right? If you think of like, if you're like thinking about, if you're like scrolling through social media and stuff like that, and you're getting ads and you're getting this and you're getting that, look at the whole of your life like that. It's like, okay, well, I'm attracting all this, but my vibe attracts my tribe. My vibe, it's the law of vibration, and then it's the law of attraction, right? So that's what this whole thing is about, and I feel like this moon squaring over to Saturn is going to be teaching us is that it's like, okay, if we're looking at the algorithm of our life and the things that are coming in, the advertisements that are coming in, and that feed that's coming in, your vibe is what's creating that algorithm, right? And the universe is finally tuning into you. The universe is very, very smart, super intelligent, much more smart much smarter and more intelligent than these curated feeds that we get in our social media that are created by different AI algorithms and or people or marketing agencies or whatever like that, blah 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 blah. The universe is so much more intelligent than that, right? But it's going to operate in a similar fashion. So if you want the algorithm of your life to change, you have to change your vibration, right? So instead of seeing these different situations, because that's the kind of vibe you're putting out, you actually have to alter your vibration, which means that you do have to pretty much alter who you are so you can change the vibration and change the things that are coming in and flowing in. And that can be a bit difficult because, it's like, you know, we have like a persona, we have a personality, we have to be these certain things, we have to appear a certain way, you know, especially when it comes to our professional lives and things that we're wanting to build and our legacy. We have to look a certain way. And it's like, do you have to look a certain way? Let's take Adam Sandler for example. This dude's drip is different, right? This dude freaking wears giant ass t-shirts and basketball shorts all the time. He doesn't necessarily dress up. This dude's drip is different, but he is super authentic to who he is. And some people may look at that as like, oh, he's not being professional, he's not being blah blah. He's a freaking comedic actor, right? And he dresses the way that he wants to dress. And while it's a little bit unorthodox and it's a little bit different than what probably most people probably would dress who are actors, that's what he does, right? You know, and that's the thing. You gotta have it. You gotta have a like. What? It was shit. It was in my head, and I had like the saying that I wanted to have for this. I can't remember. The first thing that came to mind was "fuck with me." I got it, but that's not really what I was trying to. That's not really the metaphor that I had in my head. But it's really got to be sort of like this. You know what? Fuck it. Fuck this. And it's funny too because Capricorn is all about the standards too. But there's gonna be an element here. It's like, you know what? Look, I can still play the game, but still be my unique self and be like, so long as you stand on integrity, so long as you stand on that vibrational integrity, you could walk into a freaking place where you're supposed to be dressed up in suit and tie, and you can be dressed down, but so long as you are in integrity and so long as you are working and perfecting your craft every day, who the fuck cares what people think? Right? People are going, oh, you have to wear this suit and tie, otherwise you won't be taken seriously. Yeah, well, let my work do the talking for me. Right? Let those things, let the action do the talking for me. Just because I don't appear a certain way or look a certain way, let my work actually do the talking, and then come back to me. Right? And then people will look at it as like, oh shit, this dude's the real deal. This chick's the real deal. Yeah, just because I may look a certain way doesn't mean that I'm not the real deal. Right? So, what do you believe about your perceptions, what you're perceiving, what you see, the big vision? And of course, with Saturn here in Pisces, Saturn's is navigating the ship. If you will, it is the ship, especially in Pisces, right? And it's like, do you even believe that you can go out and navigate these waters, navigate these seas? What if a storm happens? Storms are going to happen. If you allow that to stop you from leaving the dock and going to the new world and going to the new you, because a storm might happen, a storm might not happen, but a storm might happen. A storm probably will happen. But do you trust in your ability to navigate that storm and to get to the new land, to get to the promised land, to get to the new you? This is about having that higher vision and trusting and having faith in the universe. The universe has your back, right? So let's go ahead and get into the cards. cards just flew out. When that many cards fly out, I just shuffle them back in because that was quite a lot. It was like 5 cards or something like that. All right, let's see what we got. Interesting. I have the 7 of bows or the 7 of swords in reverse. Now, what's interesting about this card is that it's like it shows this individual that is flying above a city which has been overgrown by trees, and then you have a bunch of lemurs there. He's astral projecting, though. He's astral projecting. At least that's the way that I see this. The 7 of Swords, of course, though, it's in reverse. So this is like talking about, we may be afraid that someone's going to try and steal from us or take from us. But with this being in reverse, this is about, okay, are you going to rob yourself? This has nothing to do with anybody. If this is in reverse, that means that this energy is turned more inward, at least the way that I'm perceiving it in this, is like the only person that's going to be robbing you this weekend will be you robbing yourself of embracing who you are, embracing the new you, embracing the new action, embracing the algorithm that you want to create for yourself and you imagine, you think about will be beautiful, but then you don't actually do anything or take action toward actually creating that algorithm and stuff, right? So are you going to rob yourself of this opportunity? That's really what it comes down to. We have that followed by the 4 of Bones upright. Yeah, this is a commitment call. This is a transformation. I fucking love this. This is one of my favorite cards of this deck because all the people on the back, they're just kind of going about their lives. And she's like looking down this alleyway and there's like butterflies and there's like a portal right there. But this is the 4 of Wands. It's about, can we commit ourselves to this life? Can we commit ourselves to this spiritual path? That's really what this comes down to. And it can be a great transformative weekend for that. We also have, speaking of portals, we have the 2 of Wands, but it's in reverse. So maybe there's a little bit of indecision when it comes to which way to go. Do I go left or do I go right? But I feel like we're all are looking in the mirror this weekend. And we're like, but what's weird about looking in the mirror is that even though I didn't draw this card, it kind of gives me like a 7 of Cups kind of energy. We're looking in the mirror and we see like 7 versions of ourselves. And we're like, oh gosh, which one do I pick? Which one do I pick? Which one do I pick? And it's like paralysis by over analysis this weekend. But it's about like, are you going to rob yourself of the opportunity to really renew yourself and become fresh? Like people make New Year's resolutions and stuff like that, but then they kind of go right back into the same patterns, the same things. They hang out with the same people that keep leaving them down the same. Maybe they're not necessarily the worst roads, but they're not really fulfilling and stuff like that. So it's like, if you really want to have this resolution, if you will, you have to start to act differently. You have to start to move differently. You have to start to communicate differently, move differently with different people. That's what it's going to take. I'm gonna cut the deck too because I'm feeling the need to cut the deck. Now we have the 2 of, I knew there was some indecision here. We have the 2 of Bows or the 2 of Swords. The 2 of Swords upright. Yeah, so there's definitely some indecision here, some stalemate energy. But you know what? It's interesting about it. He's meditating. And there's still an eye above him that can still see through all this. So that's the thing about this. Normally, this shows someone who is blindfolded and has the swords like this, right? So there's like a bit of a gatekeeping kind of energy to this. But he is meditating, and then there's an eye above him, meaning that the only gatekeeper to your success is you. And that is a tough pill to fucking swallow. That is a tough pill for people to swallow. Yes, there are people with a lot of money that can influence different things. Yes, there are a lot of people with a lot of social currency that can influence things. But ultimately, you are the gatekeeper to your own success and your own spiritual development. So are you going to continue to gatekeep yourself? Or are you going to embrace yourself and allow yourself to come in and have a party with yourself and get to know your higher self and party with your higher self and love yourself? That's what this comes down to. This is about recommitting to the spiritual journey and recommitting to our higher self this whole weekend. That's really what I'm feeling with this. That is going to do it for your astrology forecast for this January 5th through the 7th of 2024. I know it's a long one, but I do Friday plus the weekend, so the Friday video usually is going to be a little bit longer, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you guys hopefully this can help you and assist you on your journey this weekend. I love you all so much. Y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful weekend. I will see you guys on the next astrology forecast. Peace.